let's say it's the late 1770s, early 1780s. George Washington feels like he's done his time for his country. He's been dreaming of going away, going back to Mount Vernon. If he had have done, would we have the America we have today? Would we have the world we have today?
Douglas, I always am dicey about what-if questions. I have a hard enough time establishing what actually did happen without thinking about what might have happened. But I will grant you this. If we take Washington off the board, let's say we take him off the board during the Revolution. Now, there were moments when that might have happened, especially at Princeton, when he puts himself right out in front. It's inconceivable what would have emerged from that. I think we would have lost the Revolution. I think the British Army would have triumphed, and what we would look back upon now is something similar to what, for instance, in Canada is looked back upon as these uprisings in the 19th century, especially in Louis Riel's uprising. We look back on it and say, well, that's an interesting moment, but it's not significant. It doesn't really have any bearing on us today. Take Washington off the board in the 1780s. I think you have an attempt to implement a constitution, and it fails. Without Washington, I do not see this infant republic surviving the dangers and risks of infancy in a world hostile to the idea of republics. When you think of the 1780s, all right, here is the North American colonies, which have now transformed themselves into the United States of America and a republic. What are they surrounded by? The French, our allies in this war, are busy reporting back to France, the Americans are going to self-destruct. The American Union is going to go to pieces, and we'll be there to pick up the pieces. In other words, we're going to get to reconstitute our new world empire, the one we lost in the 7 Years' War. The Spanish have the same expectation. The Spanish are right out there with the Mississippi River. That's the frontier with the Spanish Empire. And Britain. Why wouldn't Britain, after this misguided Cromwellian experiment, why wouldn't Britain welcome back its colonies in some kind of negotiated settlement? After all, when the colonies achieve this independence from Britain, they also lose Britain's overseas protection for its trade. They lose automatic access to the British economy. After a little while of that, Americans might come to their senses and say, maybe this revolution wasn't such a good idea after all. And then something could be worked out. And maybe it would look like a commonwealth. Maybe it would look something in the same order as we saw develop in Canada in its history. But it would have been very, very different. Subtract Washington from the equation, and you do not have this thing that we call the United States of America. You just don't.